Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing not a book review, nor am I doing a book tag, but instead for the first time I'm doing a book cover reaction. I have been waiting for this book for literally 6 years, and now that it's gotten a cover and it's finally happening, the sequel is finally happening, I am so excited. Just to catch you up, the sequel that I'm talking about is called The Hidden Palace by Helene Wecker. The very first book was called The Golem and the Jinni, and I read that back in 2014 and I was very enamored with it. I just loved that book. It was just really very much up my alley because it was a good mix of historical fiction, which I love, with magical realism, with a little bit of fantasy, with a little bit of like this Arabian, Middle Eastern sort of lore mixed into it. Also Jewish history. This is probably the release that I have waited for the most in my entire life. For like, out of any other book, I think maybe besides Harry Potter, I don't think that there was any other book that I was like really anticipating this much. I literally waited for this book like for 6 years / 7 years, and it finally got a cover reveal today, and I am so excited. So I just kind of wanted to do a reaction to it because I literally found out about this 10 minutes ago. So you have to understand, if I'm being a little bit incoherent here, like it's because my brain is still processing this right now. So this is my raw reaction to this title, to this cover that I'm looking at right now. And I have to say, I kind of like it. I will have to admit that this cover I didn't love before because it's kind of a very similar cover to The Golem and the Jinni, and I personally didn't really love the US covers. I think I preferred the UK covers because the UK covers were a little bit more magical. I think the US covers were meant to be a little bit more like historical fiction, and then the UK covers were meant to be a little bit more on the magical side, which makes sense because this is very magical and very historical fiction at the same time. So I don't love the US covers, but it's still okay. I like that the edges have like this tints of red, almost like it's been burned or rusted over. I quite like that. The first book though, I think it had this like archway that was like a landmark for where the Golem and the Jinni often meet. So that was very like iconic. This, I'm not really sure where this is. I would have to kind of like figure that out. Maybe, does someone understand like where this is? I'm pretty sure this is New York because the first book was set in New York as well. So I'm pretty sure this is New York, but I'm not sure where this is. Is this like a train station? If someone knows, like please do tell me because I'm very curious. I have to discuss the title, by the way, The Hidden Palace. This was a recent title change. The author recently, only a few months ago, maybe a few weeks, she announced that the title was going to be changed to The Hidden Palace. And I have to say that, you know, I think it's a good title because I think that the Hidden Palace is referring to this palace that the Jinni built in the first book. So maybe they're going to go back to that palace in the second book. I think it's a good continuation to the Golem and the Jinni. It makes sense as a title continuation. But the old title was actually called The Iron Season. And I actually have to admit that I prefer the old title better. I think that the Iron Season had a little bit more gravitas to it and a little bit more of like a mystery to it. Because the Iron Season, what does that mean? Like, I'm very curious. So the Iron Season I do like better. But I think that The Hidden Palace is a better sequel name to The Golem and the Jinni. But separately, I do like The Iron Season a lot. So just kind of giving my opinion on that. I am very excited about this book. I don't really have anticipated releases. You know, I don't do TBRs. I don't do anticipated release sort of videos like ever. So this is the one and only time that you're going to get like a reaction video or like me talking about an anticipated release, because this book I have been waiting for 6 years and I am just very excited. Literally, I just saw this on Twitter and I literally kind of screamed on the spot because, you know, you have to understand, every single time that this book was pushed back like another year or two, I think back in 2016, there was the release date, tentative release date set for 2016. Don't quote me on that, I'm not exactly sure. But then it got pushed back to 2018 again. Once 2016 arrived, I was like, oh, like, okay, I have to wait another 2 years, but I'm totally willing to wait. 2018 rolls around and it got pushed back to 2019, I think. 2019 rolls around and it got pushed back to 2021. Even recently, I was like, it's probably gonna get pushed back again. I was very much anticipating for it to be released later, like 2023, 2024. I don't know. Maybe I would have to wait my entire life for this book, but for it to finally get a cover reveal, it definitely means that it's finally coming out and it's happening for sure. So I'm very happy. Let me know if you read The Golem and the Jinni, by the way, because that is such a great book. and I think it's very underrated. You know, like something like The Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern gets a lot of hype, and rightfully so. But I think that The Golem and the Jinni was a better version of The Night Circus to some extent, because it was a lot more like grounded in historical fiction while still exploring a lot of like lore and whatnot, and it was really, really good. And the villain was amazing. So yeah, let me know if you have read The Golem and the Jinni. Let me know if you're anticipating the sequel. And let me know if you're going to put it on your TBR, because seriously, like, you should read it. So yeah, thanks for watching, and toodles.